Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
COVID-19 is fun. How's it been for you?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
It's certainly been an experience. Yeah,
That's true.
exactly. You know, being one of the people that can't stay exclusively at home, you know, it's been interesting watching LA go through its cycle. Someone asked me how it is in LA, and I say agitated. People are getting a little more aggressive in the cars, a few more on the freeway.
We've gotten a lot of honking,
Yes.
a lot of flipping off.
Yes, we're back to that. for sure.
Yeah, definitely back. It's almost back to normal.
Yeah. There's been a couple of very interesting, big realizations that I've had in these last few months that just kind of caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
And one is the value of a commercial studio. It just kind of hit me in the face in these last couple months because I've never been the greatest at social media promotion, and as a result of the state of the industry, I need to be.
Sure.
So, I've been doing a lot of work there and a lot of effort there, and through my efforts in, social media marketing for my business, I have noticed that an actual professional mastering facility is no longer necessary. What is now necessary is having a cool photo of your studio on Instagram. I don't see people talking about acoustics. I don't see people talking about, coefficients and bass trapping. I just see comments as, wow, dude, your studio looks cool. Rather than me standing on a platform and bitching about the death of proper acoustics, it is a really good awakening for me of what's important in making records.
Mm-hmm.
Babies, before we're done here, y'all be wearing gold-plated diapers.
We have to be at the precipice of this expectation that artists have in general. Because if we look back to the 80s or the 90s, you still have what we would consider controlled media, so what you're seeing has been dictated to a very small channel being given to you and everyone.
Right.
So everyone's getting Madonna, everyone's getting Michael Jackson.
Right, and they're highly marketed and
Yes.
highly commodified.
You can't ignore it. It's
Yeah.
going to be in front of you.
Sure.
Is it smart to have the expectation of achieving that level of fame? When I'm working with younger artists, I find that some of them realize this, and others have what I would call a distorted expectation of what is possible, given the opportunities that are available to everyone.
Not
the
the
curve
way-
is flat.
Right, because people are consuming media in a completely different
In
manner.
an independent manner, per person. Yes.
And when we've moved away from gold and platinum albums and now we're going to gold and platinum streams,
Yes.
how absurd. For our viewers who don't know, Mike's been doing this for 20 years, yes?
Mastering.
Yes,
Mixing before
mastering.
that, and musician before that.
Right.
So.
Do you notice in clients' viewers any sort of new trends that are coming about that have changed the way that you approach mastering?
The digital generation, I'm in a constant learning process. Whereas, everyone's learning, but I'm learning how to adapt to people that are much younger than myself. And one of the things that I didn't experience that they are now is access to every genre from every band from all time, ever. A lot of new bands that I work with now will talk about their influences, because I like to work with a band before I start doing anything.
Sure.
Because to me it's important to understand what their artistic intent is. Most new bands are pulling from so many different places.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's turning some bands into more of what I would call a Mr. Bungle experience, where
Yeah.
they're just all over the place.
It's a mishmash.
And somehow they make it work, So I'm seeing a lot of that sort of experimental, let's see how much we can all put in the same place, which requires a lot of talent. People are taking musical influences from all over the place. but they're taking production music from one place. And that's what's happening now and what's making millions of streams. So you have this artistic sea, ocean, just imagine this planet full of water that is, artistic availability and influences that you can pull from. And then all of that gets squeezed into, this little tiny stream of water, which is what the famous people are doing. You're working on a piece of art that is specific to you. Make that piece of art that is you, because your sound comes out as you. But if we start sample replacing all the drums, auto-tuning all the vocals, and doing this X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 which you can do now. You now have the new Ariana Grande album. Who gives a fuck? I want to hear your record. She made that record. I don't want to hear it. And so did Katy Perry, and so they all made the same record. I don't want to hear it.
Making copies.
You were saying earlier about find your niche, and that's actually one of the things I struggle with in mastering. Is people say, well, what's your niche? And my niche is mastering. When I first started working with John 5, because this is my philosophy, I have a lot of tools that do different things. So when it's time for your record, which tools work for your record?
Right.
If I'm one of those guys that has a compressor and an EQ, they always say the same thing, which is I do my thing. My thing is the artist thing. It's what do you want? It's my job to help you get there. And there's been more creative projects, like I said, in this last year, which have been very interesting because it's opened up me to be more collaborative, shall we say, with the artist, which is never something I would have said in mastering. STEM mastering has provided me another path to integrate in a more creative, collaborative way with the artist to help them get what they want. So if you look at the traditional, professional audio engineering world, I've had people really disagree with me on this outlook, which is fine. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it's a different approach, and it's one that when you are working with artists that are pointed in their own direction, those artists really win. They really win because they get to leverage knowledge and experience and technique to help them reach that unique outcome, and that is my thing.
As our viewers have come to expect with our Save Local interviews, one of our big things is asking each person what their favorite establishments are to visit in Echo Park in LA, and also favorite musicians and artists. So that's our way of paying stuff forward and getting other people noticed, giving shout outs to the people we love, because I know everybody's out there hurting, and any bit of love that you can give, now's the time.
Right on.
Who do you love?
Well, besides yourselves and your music, which I am a huge fan of.
Thank you.
It's in LA, local artists. I'm sure it's obvious to anyone on the internet. I'm a big fan of Ms. Neon. And Celeste is one of my good friends. So the Princess duo, you can't do wrong with that in the Celeste career as well. So those are a great bunch of folks. The Old Blood group here in LA, if you're into the doom metal kind of thing, those folks are hard to beat. They have a new record coming out real soon. I used to live here in Echo Park, so my number one restaurant in Echo Park is Tacos Brisas.
Oh, we missed the truck.
I know. And El Compadre. Right? And let's all forget about El Compadre in Hollywood. That's not even the same group of people. I know it is.
We don't even go to Hollywood.
Yeah, it's if you're gonna go to El Compadre, you're going to this one, or you're just not going to El Compadre. So those two places are that's where it's at for me in Echo Park. Yeah. Artist-wise,
Tough one.
Danny over at Lethal Amounts.
Love Danny. We're going to be talking to him soon.
He's a great guy. I worked with him on some promotional shows, that is, playing with Ms. Neon. And yeah, his work over at Lethal Amounts is amazing. All the guests that he has and all the performances that he does. There's an artist, a woman here in town, Tara Von Lintel. You can find her on Instagram as well. She's got a great perspective on artwork as well, so she's worth checking out. If I could express anything to artists, especially musicians, here in LA, this is still a great music town. Live music here is still kicking ass. And if you're making music and you're new in the game, do you. Don't copy anyone, and just do you. That's my message.